morning, Patriots. I'm Chris Cordani. As you know, and fear not. Good morning, Patriots. It's Chris Cordani. I'm not filling in totally for Tony Schaefer, but what I am doing is I'm sitting in here while Tony is on Newsmax. He will be in with us in just a few moments. So it is Wake Up Patriots with Tony, and I'm co-hosting when he comes back. We are going to talk about the debate, and I'd like to talk about it with all of you. I also have Dr. Jerome Corsi, who is sitting in with us as well. He's going to be in just a few moments, and Barry Morgenstern, the celebrity photographer. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about the debate because let me tell you something. It was, well, not as theatric as we thought it would be. And that might have been a little disappointing, but it was somewhat civil. And that was good too, because that would be in JD Vance's wheelhouse. He was calm, he was cool, he was collected. And of course, JD Vance did a lot of scrambling. Uh, in fact, when Tony Schaefer and I were prepping for this the night before, that was last night, that is, Tony is the one who said that Walls looked like a deer in headlights. What do you think about that? Did he look confused, deer in headlights? And not only did Tony say that, next morning, I'm reading in Newsweek, even the liberals there say he looked like he was, well, um, a deer in the headlights. The man was not ready for this. I will ask you this. What do you think about this? Who do you think won? Was it JD Vance? Was it Walls? Was it the American people? Or was it CBS? I would say the CBS moderators were the biggest losers. Walls came in second place as far as the losers were concerned. And I'm saying this because, and I'm going to play the clip later. I want to save the clips for when Tony gets in because I want him to see these as well. I want his comments on them. But I want to ask you, did you like the part where O'Donnell and Brennan were fact checked when they were trying to fact check JD Vance on immigration? The man was great. He said, wait a minute, hold on a second. The immigration law reads this. You're full of it. And by the way, they did come in here illegally. Just because Biden and Harris, or what I like to call the Barris administration, and please do not confuse that with the great Chuck Barris. Chuck Barris was cool. The Barris administration is not cool, and I dare say weird. What are your thoughts on that? There we go. I was watching this, and before we get to our guests, Barry Morgenstern and Dr. Jerome Corsi, and of course, if you're just tuning in, Tony Schaefer is joining us in just a few moments. That's going to be a lot of fun. I did notice a few things about Ted Walz's performance. Again, Vance was calm. He definitely is not the showman that Donald Trump is. So if you're expecting a cat fight or a brawl, I don't think that last night's debate was the place for you. However, if you're expecting to watch Walz in the very tough position of having to defend the Barris administration for its terrible policy, for its inflationary policy, for its immigration policy, and for its all around egregious and damaging foreign policy, it was like watching a scared turtle. I understand he was in his wheelhouse when it came to abortion, but that's the Democrats' thing. Um, Putting that aside, the man did look bad. He did, funnily enough, if you watched him, he kept looking down at his papers when Vance was speaking. You ever notice that? The man looked down at his papers to memorize some, well, classic buzzwords and buzz terms that he had to know. So here's a couple things that you probably did notice him saying. In the very beginning, did you notice his overuse of the word fickle? This is something that the Democrats have strategized. Create some new kind of term and associate it with your enemy. Associate it with some kind of policy to make yourselves look good and the other guys look bad, like the term misinformation or greedflation, if you remember where they tried to pull that, or when Biden tried to pull Bidenomics. Well, Walz repeated fickle nonstop in the first, let's say, 5-10 minutes of the program of the debate, trying to associate that word with Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has been very decisive, and he has a reputation of controlling. I uh, I wanted to get into some of what you guys are saying. Who won the election? We the people. That's from D.H. Morgan. Nice job, D.H. Too many shots to play with Elmer Fudd. That's exactly true. If you played a drinking game with the buzzwords, you would have been drunk by the time, I don't know, half an hour rolls around. Red Ginger said JD knows he has us. He needed to charm them. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I don't know what you mean. I think you mean Walls needed to charm them because that was his thing. JD Vance knows that he's not the charmer. He knows he just has to be the straight ahead guy. That's fine. I'm okay with that. He played his part well. Another person who watched the debate with me, well, not with me, but with all of us, is Dr. Jerome Corsi, who, by the way, will be here Monday to talk about a very important development with the voter roll algorithms and a very important announcement he's making this week. But Dr. Corsi, you saw the debate. Was having fun with some of the buzzwords as well. But did you notice he kept saying pickle in the very beginning just to try to associate the two? It was a comic of errors and a comic of a comedy of annoyance.
Yeah, knucklehead. I mean, this is the knucklehead
Knucklehead was
debate.
a great one.
Knucklehead. I mean, the guy's a knucklehead. I
I'm a
mean,
knucklehead at times. That's what he said. That's right.
I'm a knucklehead. Knucklehead debate. I mean, how could the guy is going to call himself a knucklehead?
That's right.
And he wants to be vice president. Well, I mean, between him and Kamala, I don't know who's worse.
Well, I'm okay with self-deprecating humor, but he's saying it in the context of the same exact way he stole valor. And I don't want I cannot let this pass because
I have friends who are school shooters.
I want to get that. Then I want to get in. I can't let this pass, Dr. Corsi, because it was funny to people when he said, "I'm a knucklehead at times," but he said it in context to lying about being in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square riots. He lied
Yeah.
about that, dodged the question, had to be asked again, and he said, "I'm a knucklehead at times. I misspoke."
Well,
He said the same thing when he was called out for stealing valor, for saying he went overseas to fight when he did not. He skipped out before he was sent overseas. This is not to be this should not be ignored.
Well, it's okay. So goes to China. Then so the next thing he's starting to bring students over to China. How much did China pay him to do that? I mean, so he goes to China, and he gets co-opted by China. The guy's a small town guy. China says, "We've got another chump coming over here. Let's put some cash in his pocket. We'll own this guy, and then we'll bring a whole bunch of students over here. We'll convert them to communism. We'll get them to be friends of the communist Chinese, and we'll begin penetrating America." So this guy plays along. He thinks he's doing a great service introducing people to China when he's being used by the communist Chinese as a dupe.
Yeah, and the fact is, somehow this guy with CCP connections, and by the way, a woman whose husband has CCP connections through his law firm, get into the lead partition of the Democrat Party ticket to run for president when they kick out the guy that pretty much they've been holding up for 3.5 years.
Communists, and Kamala is a Maoist. She's been a Maoist from the beginning. So
right.
Chinese have been influencing her. I've been just asked Trevor Loudon. He'll tell you chapter and verse about Kamala Harris being a Maoist. And so that's Chinese.
Exactly.
These people are cultural warriors. They want to destroy the Western culture. They want to destroy the United States of America. They don't believe in it anymore. And lying is their number one tactic for electoral success.
Exactly.
Lie.
And then tell everybody else that the other people were lying. Remember the Trump Biden debate where Jill Biden leads her chorus of kindergartners at the North Carolina rally post debate going, and Trump said lie after lie and had the crowd repeat lie after lie.
And we're going to turn the page, and we're going to turn the page.
I feel like I'm at an elementary school assembly where the principal's like talking to people like they're all still in first grade, going, and now let's turn the page.
The only chance these people have to win is that the Democrats steal the election. That's their last option. And they're not even trying to run a good race here. They're not even trying to run a legitimate candidacy. So I've got a new phrase. We say the tactics are too big to rig. And I want to make their tactics of stealing elections so clear to people.
Right.
I want to make this election their tactics of stealing too clear to queer. These people are going to queer everything. Too clear to queer.
I like that. And they'll tell you it's too big to rig or too big to
too big to rig and too clear to queer. I'm sick of these people queering everything. Between Kamala and Waltz, I don't know which one is wackier. And defeating these people is simple. Give them a microphone. That's all you have to do. Let's let them talk.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
mean,
true. You let them hang themselves, and this is what Vance did to Walls, pretty much. Walls kept lying and lying, and if the moderators weren't going to call him out, just let him hang himself and
well,
let the post debate analysis
this
work.
O'Donnell is this O'Donnell is the worst of the worst. When I
Not
was in
worse
the
than Muir. I think
When I
Muir was
was in the Mueller investigation, they had me come in for 60 minutes. They put my wife and me in a cold room where we both were about sick. This woman kept us waiting 45 minutes to do. Then she came in and, sitting right across from me doing this interview, trying to get me to say something that would make their story in 60 minutes. Well, they didn't even run it because they wouldn't run what I said. They wouldn't run the truth. They wanted to trap me into some statement where they could make me look bad, and it didn't happen. So they wasted all that money, all that time, and this O'Donnell woman has got an ego that's massive.
Yeah, she does. And she really did not like getting fact checked. I want to play the clip, but I'm going to wait till Tony comes in and play the clips because I just want to get yours, and Barry Morgenstern is going to be in with us too. Everybody's thoughts on the clips. It was it was a comedy of errors. But let's look at the picture. This, I believe, is a picture. This, I think, is the picture that depicts that I would say characterizes the entire debate yesterday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a deer in the headlights look from Waltz all through the debate. Every time he's constantly jaw open, eyes staring big, wondering what's going on. The guy's got cognitive problems. He was not functioning at any peak level here. He was having trouble putting it together. He keeps looking down, and what has he got? Notes or something in front of him? He keeps looking down and reading something off of his podium. Vance, I thought, looked young, articulate, sharp. They had to even cut him off with the microphone, which I thought was one of the low points for CBS. I mean, I remember when CBS was a respectable network. Back to Edward R. Murrow. I mean, I grew up admiring CBS. Now I think CBS is the worst of the worst. I mean, it's CNN. It's CNN light.
Right, right. And the worst thing about the debate, the idea was to cut mics off when the two kind of got into it a little too much. No, what this mic cutoff was abused because the moderators did not like the idea of being fact checked when they were trying to fact check Vance.
Well, the fact checking here is, and I'm going to quickly in gods5stones.com, which you've got as our up. We're announcing today that we found the algorithms in Wisconsin. So we got them in a battleground state now. And that's big news. And what I'm saying is we've got to get ready to fight. The Republicans don't fight. So we're going to get lawyers ready to file challenges immediately while the election's going on. So we stop the steal. And this final battle is underway. And this winning strategy right now, which is, too big to rig and too clear to queer. I love that, too clear. I mean, that's all they do is queer everything. That debate last night was a queer debate. I mean, I could these two women moderators and the two of them, holding hands with each other and trying to fact check Vance. Vance fact checked them back. I thought that was a classic moment, another classic moment in the debate.
And the fact is, he doesn't do it like Trump did it. Trump will do it. He'll try to shout over them, and he'll be theatric. Vance just looked at him and said, in essence, "No, you're wrong. This is the immigration law and that immigration bill both have context to them that you're not bringing up in the fact check." And that's funny. The whole thing about the context. And Walls was hammering that immigration bill again, going, "Yeah, we had a bipartisan immigration bill. It was working. It was gonna be great." And then, but the fact is, we all know that that bill allowed 3,000, and we know barely vetted immigrants in every day. Think about this: 3,000. I want to do the numbers on that one. Okay, I'm going to pull out the old trusty calculator. The bipartisan agreement that all the Democrats seem to love, and Langford likes as well, and some establishment Democrats, they want to allow 3,000 times 365 migrants in a year. Okay, call them legal. That would be 1,095,000 every year. Even Barack Obama's 6-digit quota was 10%, was 10% of that.
Well, I mean, and they're lying about those numbers. I mean, who knows how many are coming across the border and who they are? We're not vetting them. We're not, and the abuse of children, which I'm obviously getting picked up here in on trafficking, pedophilia city down on the border right now, and they grab these children and put them in sex slavery.
Awful. It's awful.
And the CIA is involved in the middle of all of this. CIA is running the drug trade now. They're in the fentanyl trade. I caught HSBC money laundering for the drug trades. And you can't run a drug operation without a bank. What are you going to do? Drive a semi full, drug cartel heads in Mexico are going to drive their semis full of $100 bills up to a taco stand for lunch? I don't think so.
No, I
pull
agree
out for
with
the
you.
back a couple $100 bills. You can't buy tacos with $100 bills all over the place. You got to get the money into a bank.
Right.
The bank, and then it's monitored by the Federal Reserve. It's monitored by the Treasury. It's monitored by the CIA and by NSA, which are all complicit in all of this. And so, therefore, we've gotten, and the Department of Justice is saying to Alabama, you can't take illegals off of your voting list because it's too close to the election. Well, give me a break. They found illegals that they want to get off the voter list, and the Department of Justice is telling them, no, keep them on. Okay, so that these non-citizens can vote. Maybe one of these citizens has actually gotten citizenship, they say. Well, prove it, Department of Justice. Prove it. Find the one and let them vote. But don't put, 900,000 on here because you want them to vote for Kamala. The Department of Justice needs to be shut down. And the UN needs to be made into a parking lot. Just quit paying. So the UN is going to be the new world governance. They're going to be the one world government. They're going to have this building for the future of the where the UN and the World Health Organization dictates all policies to all nations. I got a solution. Just quit funding them.
I got a couple of comments
for them. Yeah, just quit paying for them, and they'll go away faster than the dust in the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. They'll blow away.
I have a couple of comments for you, Dr. Corsi. One from our Patriots here. First off, one for me. Don't laugh, Chris. Insider myself said that. This is how our country's run for decades. I know. My job is to try to make light of some things here, and but I do understand this is how the country's been run for a very, very long time. And by the way, many more decades than a lot of people think. I agree with you right there. And
ever since Jack Kennedy was shot by this,
exactly,
it's been obvious.
Exactly, and if you want to talk about education, I know you and I, Dr. Corsi, we both have have a lot of information about how the far left at the time, or even over a century ago, was trying to infiltrate the schools. And that's through a really cool book we have called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America by Charlotte Thompson Iserbyt. And it's about, I don't know, it's about 2 or 3 or 4 inches thick. It's a beautiful book. It has all sorts of letters.
I've got one that she signed, a copy of that book.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I didn't get the same one. I interviewed her about 6 times when I was when the book came out. Also, Aunt Jana asked you, will Corsi disclose the information to the Trump campaign? Are they involved in some way?
We have. I mean, Trump campaign knows all about the algorithms. They know fully about it. I mean, it may not be their current topic, but the Trump lawyers know about it. Trump is, they've all been briefed. Tucker Carlson's been briefed. Matt Taibbi has been briefed. These people, Elon Musk has been in the process of being briefed. They all know about the algorithms. I think the algorithms that we're showing in God's Five Stones, now we're up to about 5 states in which we can prove there are algorithms. Pretty soon we'll be up to 25 states. And we're just going to cut, once the evidence gets overwhelming, I think we'll have a massive recognition in this country that the only way the Democrats can win is stealing. And by the way, these algorithms have been on state board of election databases since 2007. So I'm questioning why they're there. It's inherently illegal that they're there. That's number one. Number two, I want to know who put them there.
Right.
CIA or NSA, which one did it? And I want to know 3, how many elections have been stolen already using these algorithms? How many people in Congress are there because they were cheating there through the algorithms? So these algorithms have been around now. And if Dr. Andrew Paquette had not found them, it was genius work finding these algorithms. If he hadn't found them, we wouldn't know about this. That he found it is game changing.
And
And
check out more about what you're talking about here on the Truth Central. Your new podcast is coming up pretty soon, and you did mention that Wisconsin, a major swing state, has one of these algorithms.
they've got an algorithm in it, and they've got like 500,000 clone votes, cloned, and like 500,000 clones in there. Like 800,000 cloned records, two for each of the people. So 400,000, whatever the exact number is, are illegal registrations. The people have double registration, so they can get 2 mail-in ballots. They can vote twice. Well, that's just inherently wrong. It
Right.
violates a fundamental principle of the HAVA law, the Help America Vote Act, which is every person ought to have one voter ID that's secure. Well, we don't have we don't need one. We how about 30 registrations? That's how many some people have in New York City. That and why not? Because you go out and vote harvest, and the state's boards of election don't bother to see whether these people who are signing that they're this person living here are real. They don't
Right.
check that. They just and so people say, okay, here's this guy's asking for my signature for me to register for a vote. He's a student. I'll do it. This guy's a Democrat. He's an operative. I'll do it again. So you sign 30 different times to get onto the voter registration, and you get 30 different registrations. Then you get 30 different mail-in ballots. Okay, now and nobody does anything about it.
Nope. And luckily you're bringing this up, and I know you have a lot to discuss about this, and I do want to tease the fact that you're going to be on Monday talking all about
Yeah,
this,
this
and all the announcements you're making this week, and you have a lot of research you're getting done this week as well.
also I've written 3 books on Iran, and so
Right.
now we're going to have a massive Israeli attack on Iran that's coming. It's going to be a huge attack,
And
and
one
I think the stock market is also in severe danger of the bubble popping.
another thing that you're discussing on your show, and what people have been talking about, and I want to introduce Barry Morgenstern on this as well, a celebrity photographer and all around cool guy and commentator here
Hi,
on Wake
Barry.
Up Patriots.
Hey,
Wake up,
nice to
fellow
meet you.
patriot.
Nice to meet you. Good to see you,
Nice
Chris.
to meet you too.
I want to talk more about the debate when Tony comes in. Tony will
Okay,
be
we'll
in.
talk about the debate. Debate
Right,
is
but
great.
when Tony comes in, Tony will be in just a few minutes. He's doing a hit right now, and I want to throw some clips at all you guys. But something that we've been discussing, and something that I think we should talk about in conjunction with this upcoming election, is the escalation of the situation in the Middle East right now. You had Israel brilliantly. And this is Able Danger-esque, by the way, as Tony Schaefer was talking about, brilliantly took down Hezbollah through its electronics, the pagers and the handheld radios. And they had this technology for a long time. I'm sure they were holding this card for a while. Iran strikes back. Israel and allies fight it off. This is going to escalate, but how close are we, gentlemen, do you think, to World War III?
Oh, very, very close. I mean, we're in it. It's already happening. It's already started. And if you saw any of the film clips from Lebanon when Israel was striking these buildings and killing Hezbollah leaders, Israel had it targeted. I mean, these strikes on buildings were precise. They were taking down whole buildings. I mean, I used to worry about Iran. Its distance from Israel was hard to get fighter planes to fly that distance. I'm sure Israel has modified the planes now that can do it, but they're going to be able to do a lot of this with long range missiles and with drones. And so therefore it's going to be, and Israel, I'm sure, I would not want to be in the business today of writing life insurance policies for the Ayatollahs. I think the mullahs I think their day is long gone, and they better kiss their bottoms goodbye.
Oh, oh yeah. And you said there is going to be an October surprise, and it could be World War III.
Nuclear war.
And look
That's a
what
big
month it
surprise.
is right now.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry. You get
I was
in
going to
there.
say, yeah, that's a big surprise. The sad thing about it all is it probably all could have been avoided if we had the right
All
guy.
could have been, yeah, with the right leadership, this could have been
Right.
avoided. I mean,
Right.
Yes.
what Trump was in the process.
Weakness brought this on.
Yeah, what Trump was, it's a fundamental lesson that goes back to Reagan. And when
Mhm.
Reagan said, the 45 in the West was the peacemaker, there was you had to have a weapon in order to maintain order.
Of course.
And so therefore, you have to have a strong military, not admirals in dresses,
Right.
please. I've had
Right.
enough, no
Don't get
more
me started
admirals.
on that one.
No more generals with lipstick. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
or people who steal luggage and yeah, trans people who steal luggage in the middle of making important decisions on our
Right.
policy. There we go.
Yeah.
And
Question:
if we don't agree, that's normal. That we're the crazy ones.
yeah,
we're
we
weird.
gotta celebrate it. You know, I mean,
Right.
these gay prides events. You know, they're rather charming, aren't they? With all the antics they do. I mean, they get Luciferian antics by nearly naked people in front of children in the streets. So the children have the sense to say, "What's wrong with these people, Mommy? Why is that guy wearing a dress?"
Right. Yeah. It's horrible to subject your children to that and think that's okay. That's abuse, if you ask me.
Again, and that's true. And this is another thing. They'll tell you it's teaching your kids mindedness, or it's making your kids open to what's going on. No, it is abusive because
Right.
when they start popping in and start preaching this kind of thing, you're actually destroying their mental development, if you will.
Well,
They're right.
we're going back to paganism. I mean, wait until you see now with this
People against goodness
P.
and normal.
Diddy thing, and you know, wait till this starts coming out in terms of what their events are like. But the knucklehead debate last night was certainly entertaining. I mean, I am
Knucklehead.
sometimes I'm a knucklehead. You
Yeah,
know?
knucklehead. You know what? He said he was a knucklehead, but I will still say this. I believe Balls is more meathead. As Tony Schaefer takes the reins of the program. Welcome
Hey, good
back.
morning.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, good to be here.
Tony.
So I got to tell you, there's a shocking headline I got to put out. I don't know if you knew this. They brought up Project 2025 again last night,
Yeah.
and boy, oh boy, I went and checked it myself. Did you know that as part of Project 2025, that they're no longer going to have soft marshmallows? That marshmallows are going to be made hard. Did you know that? This is terrible. I mean, man, oh man, talk about destroying the American way. Can you imagine? What are we going to do at campfires if we don't have marshmallows? They'll be like little golf balls. I mean, what happens to s'mores? This is a great travesty. Somehow we have to stop 2025. I mean, we have to stop everything and preserve marshmallows, right, Chris? I mean, this is horrible.
Well, worse yet, Project 2025 will also eventually ban fires. You see, if
That's right.
we have to keep fires out of the hands of people too. And the reason why is because kids should not be out camping and roasting marshmallows. They should be at the gay pride parades. And that's
Sorry,
why.
Did you know that fire is hot?
Yeah, did you know the sun is hot too?
You cannot trust people with fire. It's dangerous. See, it's dangerous. I'm dangerous. I'm a danger to myself.
Oh my gosh.
Can't trust people with Democrats. I mean, that's
Well,
let's ban Democrats.
Well, thanks for letting me be late. But yeah, Jerry, I mean, this is crazy. Hey, Barry, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me back.
So, yeah, no, it was an exciting night. I don't know how much Chris has got into because I was off with my friend Chris Salcedo, the Latino with the blood of a Republican down, doing some stuff on his radio show. But one of the things I did want to, I think, note, let's take a consensus. Who won the debate last night?
Well, actually, I was convinced that J.D. Vance won until I heard this morning that Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid said that Tim Walz won. So I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
right.
yes.
Well, I think the reason he won is because he had wore I think Old Spice, and Old Spice is something that the women can't refute. So I think that they're going on like nasal memory. That Tim Walz. So I think
that was a clear knockout, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
he just looked like he was deer in the headlights. From he was staring at things. He looked horrible. The optics were terrible.
And was he writing a book? Because he was.
He kept looking down to check out his
writing
buzzword.
the entire time. What was he writing?
Dear diary,
Yeah,
JD again said something that made me upset.
Yeah, I mean, and then I like them turning off the microphone when Vance was making his points about how they had lied in their fact checking. This Nora O'Donnell, she interviewed me once in 60 Minutes, and she is a piece of work. I'll tell you. Her questions were nothing but, this was when the Mueller investigation wanted to put me in prison.
That right there. Well, by the way, Nora O'Donnell got fired, and plus I have a close friend who used to work at CBS who says that she's just a terrible human being. So I don't want to. Probably can guess who that is, but I can't.
Yeah,
say
I mean, her ego is massive. I mean, a huge ego. And
You want to
And-
hear her get? You want to hear them get upset? The both of them, O'Donnell and Brennan, get upset for being fact checked. They're trying to fact check. They're trying as hard as they can to fact check Vance because that's their job. Of course, here we go.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected.
And a lot of cats.
Nora?
Here it comes.
Thank you.
Senator, we have so much to get to.
Margaret,
I think it's important
We're going to
because
turn out of the
debate-
economy.
They're
Thank
trying
you.
to
the
stop 'em.
rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going to
we're-
fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on.
Ouch!
So there's an application
Exactly.
called the CBP One app.
He gets a
Where you can
hail.
go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank you,
our
Senator,
own
for
leadership.
describing the legal process.
Kamala-
We
and
have
Kamala
so much
Harris
to get
opened up
to,
that
Senator.
pathway.
We
Those
have
laws
so
have been on
much-
the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
We
CBP
wanna have-
One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that
Exactly.
Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
Yeah, the mics were cut because they
And
didn't
so
like
is-
being.
yeah.
They didn't like being.
We don't
fact-
need no stinking truth.
Yeah,
We don't need no stinking truth.
that's
No,
right.
no. So Chris, or who should? Jerry, do you think that Kamala Harris wand is as powerful as Nancy Pelosi's flying monkey wand that she has?
No, I
Because
think
those flying monkeys are pretty good.
I'll tell you, the flying monkeys can't be beat. The Wizard of Oz flying monkeys can't be beat. I mean, I'm sorry, Nancy Pelosi tops them all.
It's true.
She does.
She tops them all.
But by the way, Jerry, in your absence yesterday, we figured out that you need to get a rock and roll band, which is Jerry and the Algorithms. That's a great rock and
I
roll
like
band.
that. Yeah, that's
Oh,
a great
hey,
band.
Tony, I got another one on God's Five Stones. I'm running a thing about how we beat them. So, too big to rig. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying they've got to expose all the ways they cheat, so that people can. It's like seeing a magic trick. It's only a magic trick until you know how it's done. So
Right.
I'm saying we got to make their cheating too clear to queer.
Too clear to queer.
Clear to queer.
Man, oh man, you're going to get Rosie O'Donnell on your case, man.
Yeah, I mean, too clear. They want to queer the election by cheating. Let's make it too clear to queer. They
Yeah, I like
that. They, in fact, we show all their tricks. So when they're happening, and I want to get through God's Five Stones. We're going to now get the lawyers to be ready. We've gotten algorithms now. We found algorithms in Wisconsin. So one of the battleground states has now fallen. And so I want lawyers ready while the counting is going on to start challenging these elections before they're certified, so that we get in there immediately and challenge them. Because if they got one of these algorithms, the whole state database is illegal. They can't use it to certify an election.
Well, so Jerry, I want to bring it up because last night, again, Nora O'Donnell, one of the two,
You can't tell them apart, can you?
The Bobsey twins made the comment about how there were 72 judges found there was no evidence. Like, no. They never made it to the evidentiary.
They never made it.
It was all standing. It was
It's
all
all-
standing dismissal.
Yeah, and that's the problem with allowing these elections to be certified. You got to challenge them before they're certified. And what we're doing with the algorithms is we're saying, why are they here? I'm not saying any election was stolen. I want to know if elections were stolen. If these algorithms have been around in the state databases since 2007, I want to know how many people are in office because they were put there by algorithms. I want to know how many current office holders cheated to get there. And that's just a question. I'm
It'll
like
be
you
nice
say,
to know.
like you say, Tony, just asking. Just
Yeah,
asking.
just asking.
Just asking.
So speaking of that, so I want to make sure people understand that we're talking about algorithms, not Al Gore's rhythm.
Yeah,
Because
sorry.
Al Gore's rhythm is
He has
like
Hey-o. You gotta
it's
add
like
that.
polyester. It's like can you imagine Al
Polar
Gore
bears
and
are all
those
going to die. The
polyester
polar
leisure
bears are
suits?
going to die. I'm sorry. The polar.
Yeah, that's right.
Say
That's
the
right.
polar bears.
Yeah.
You know,
So Barry, you never took a picture of Al Gore, did you? I hope not.
Yeah, there you go.
No, he probably wouldn't let me in the room.
Or men, bear, pig. There we go. Men,
Never
bear,
had the
pig.
pleasure.
Or, you know,
For some reason, conservatives always seem to come to me.
I wonder.
Yeah.
well, if you see, Barry, you have good friends, and
I
guys,
do.
That's right.
we're
I'm
all
lucky.
friends here, and we can be judged by our friends. And
Absolutely.
the debate also, the Democrats always tell you, well, Trump has all these horrible people. We should judge him by his friends. I say that standard should also go to somebody like Ted Walls. We should judge him by his friends. What do you think?
So I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
Exactly.
How about
Those are some
that?
good friends.
I
Those are the
I
guys
don't-
you want to show up at a bar in the middle of the night with. That's kind of,
I don't think that was in his talking point somehow or other. I think he got his line a little bit mixed up.
Yeah,
That-
I
that
thought
was
I
a
was hearing
joke.
things on that one.
I think
Yeah,
one of
well.
his aides made a joke and put it in his line to see if he'd actually read it verbatim, like
Saying it-
Anchorman.
saying it
You
is
ever
yours.
see Anchorman?
yeah. So, but no, it's a question for Barry. So, Barry,
Right.
last night the optics, just the pictures, and Chris and I think Jerry probably too. We're all movie guys. We love
Mhm.
film noir and the way you light things. And I'm actually a producer. I've done acting and I've got an IMDb, and you've taken great pictures of me. Some of the great black and white ones.
Thank
So my question to you is: there any lighting tricks you could have done to help Tim Walsh look more human last night?
No, I would have quit. I would have retired.
I've got-
I said, "Nope, I'm out.
That is
I've
Mission
got
Impossible.
the best lighting trick on him would be black screen.
Mission Impossible. Ooh.
He just kept glaring over when Vance was.
He did.
He
It was
just kept glaring
horrible.
at him with this psychotic look to his face. It was just so creepy. And then
I
he
know.
every time Vance would make a great point, he'd start taking notes, and that's why I don't know what he was writing about.
Yeah, I went to Russia. I went to China, and they let me start bringing in all these students. So then I got in the business of bringing students over to China. Well, how much did China pay you to do that? When did you become an operative for communist China?
Right.
How old were you? Hey, we got another kid here coming from the United States from a small town. Let's give him some money and give him a right to bring children over here. We'll indoctrinate the whole country. This guy is one of our dupes.
Absolutely.
I mean, so the whole look to him, all the optics of this guy. I mean, so you're vetting somebody for vice president. This guy comes into the room. Say, don't ask this guy any questions. Just get him out of here. He doesn't look the part. I mean, this is the obvious wrong guy. Say it's like Curtis LeMay. This guy wants to bomb everybody.
Literally.
Well,
Literally.
Again, another observation about the debate that I found rather interesting, and I want to get to this as well.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who said, who does Ted Walls or Tim Walls? I keep saying that. Who does Tim Walls remind you of when you're watching him in the debate? And I was thinking, I went back to an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati when Art Carlson was in the middle of a debate and he ran for, I believe, city council. This is what Ted Walls reminded me of. Tell me if I'm off base. And Patriots, what do you think?
What do you have to say besides no comment?
Well, this busing thing,
wow.
I think it shows that the
Even looks
country's
like him.
heart's in the right place. But at the same time, it's sort of, splitting us when really the whole thing was meant to bring us closer together. You see, the people of this country, for the love of
And that, my
Spot on.
friends, was my Ted Walls, Tim Walls analysis. I keep saying Ted.
Oh.
I'm thinking of Ted. Tim Walls analysis right there.
Well, let's get an old balding guy and run him for vice president. That'll win a lot of votes.
Well, they asked me, but I wouldn't run with the Democrats.
Yeah, well, but, and his answers in general were, first of all, hard to figure out what he's saying because he's not entirely coherent like Kamala. He's not entirely all there, and so therefore, when he gets going on things, like the school shooters, I'm friends with school shooters. Well, now you're the back room, and you're supposed to be the guys who are prepping this guy, and you're going to have to answer him. Then with the reporters afterwards want to ask you what are you going to say about that? How are you going to explain that one? So immediately say, oh, he said what? Your back room saying, we got a problem with this guy. And so therefore, the way to beat these Democrats right now is to give them microphones. Just let them talk. Just let Kamala talk and let him talk. And let the American people see what they really have in their minds to say. That's
Jerry, I think that's what I think. I was talking about this last night with a very close friend, and she was pointing out that he seemed to try to recall things. Like Kamala, you can see goes to a script in her head. she starts going through things. I think they tried to do the same thing with Tim Walz. They tried really hard to basically
Yes,
pump
you've got a
him up.
good point. Yeah.
And so I just don't think he's built with that kind of memory. I mean, I'm not being critical of, not everybody has the ability to take a script and remember it. I can't remember scripts to save my life. I can't. I suck as a scripted actor. I can do improv, and I think JD, because he's confident in his own policies, it shows. And that's why he could say, he could have a conversation. And Walz was always trying to recall something.
Well, JD did what I would prep a candidate to do. It was a good candidate. And that is, I'd say, have some things in mind in advance that you want to say. And regardless of what your answer, go through those points, because he seemed to have structured answers. He knew where he was going to start, where he was going to end on an answer, what points he wanted to cover. But he was smart enough and smooth enough to make it look like it was completely, off the cuff. And he was natural in doing it. Whereas, and then you look over it and see Walz, and Walz is confused. He doesn't know what's really being said. He's trying to figure out an answer. The confusion in his head was obvious last night. And that's the thing I saw the most. Here's a old, confused guy whose motions are, turn the page. These quirky motions these people have are just, I begin to think that his wife was casting a spell. He looked like a witch casting a spell.
Flying monkeys.
That's flying monkeys.
You gentlemen bring up the motions, the looks, the facial expressions of Tim Walz. I want to show a clip where he was a little bit upset when they were talking about another issue, and I imagine the guy was either taking notes or looking for that list of buzzwords that he had, or buzz terms he was going to put forth. I want you to just, when this is rolling, tell me what you think about Walz's motions, the looks on his face, and everything when he was confronted with, facts.
Governor, you say trust the experts. But those same experts for 40 years said that if we shipped our manufacturing base off to China, we'd get cheaper goods. They lied about that. They said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class stronger. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the idea that if we made America less self-reliant, less productive in our own nation, that it would somehow make us better off. And they
looks like a puppy, doesn't he?
They were wrong about
sad eyes. It's got those sad eyes.
Well, let me. Oh, look right there. Hold that side. So, Barry, I have a question for you. You do a lot of stuff with entertainers and TV and stuff. If you had to to cast a commercial on hemorrhoids, would you pick Tim Walz to be the guy for the face of that? Is that's a hemorrhoid face right there? That's it. Are you troubled with hemorrhoids?
That's the guy.
He'd be perfect for that.
Well, he would be the hemorrhoid, wouldn't he?
That's what he's good for. Not vice versa.
But look at him. He was visibly upset because he was saying, trust the government experts.
Right.
And you guys don't trust the government experts. And then Vance comes up with facts. What am I going to say next?
About it. And for the first time in a generation, Donald Trump had the wisdom and the courage to say to that bipartisan consensus, we're not doing it anymore. We're bringing American manufacturing back. We're unleashing American energy. We're going to make more of our own stuff. And this isn't just an economic issue. I mean, I've got 3 beautiful little kids at home, 7, 4, and 2. And I love them very much. And I hope they're in bed right now. But look, so many of the drugs, the pharmaceuticals that.
And there he is. His head's down. He has that puppy face.
Yeah, exactly.
What does that tell you? That tells you he's having some real trouble handling the pressure of a debate against somebody as mild-mannered as J.D. Vance.
Well, the other thing too, let me hit that real quick, because if you could bring up, Chris, at one, there's a point, just one of the points, I don't care which one, when Walz is answering and JD is just kind of looking over like, you see this guy? He's a knucklehead. Look at that. I mean, he's just kind of looking at us like.
I mean,
it was like night and day, because I mean that's this like little like sideways look like. I think it was brilliant, because he looked like, I'm totally confident. I don't have to write anything down, because this guy's like,
yeah.
He was treating him the way a comedian treats their straight man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, here you go. Let's. This was fun because Nora O'Donnell and O'Donnell and Brennan actually did their jobs at one point in this entire debate. He actually asked a serious question of
yes.
of Ted Wall
Oh,
of Tim Walz. I keep calling him Ted. Why do I do that? It's Tim Walz. Now
Governor
here's
Walz,
now
you said you were in
what I
Hong
wanted to say
Kong.
about this is that even Muir wouldn't have touched this. So I just found it interesting that when Walz thought he had the moderators in his back pocket, like Kamala did on ABC, seemed really surprised by this. So let's get that up here.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protest
Right down again. The face went right down.
in the
Well, I
spring
knew what was
of
coming at this point.
1989.
No,
But
no,
Minnesota
no,
Public
not
Radio
now.
and other
Don't
media
ask me,
outlets
don't
are
ask me,
reporting
don't
that you
ask me.
actually didn't
I'm
travel
gonna
to
put my
Asia
pants down.
until August of
I
that
like the
year.
frown.
Can I go to
Can
the
you
bathroom
explain
now?
that discrepancy? Your
Yeah,
comment?
well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew
He's angry now.
up in small
I grew up
rural
a poor black
Nebraska.
child.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's funny.
Hundred.
Let's stop there because that's a funny point you bring up. Kamala Harris. That's a Kamala Harris answer.
Kamala
I grew up in a middle class family.
Right. Same answer.
Same one.
Yeah.
Town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined
I'm
the National
proud.
Guard at 17.
Out of what service? Riding his bike with his
And then I
kids?
used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity.
And he just goes talks, but he
But she
Again.
calls him out. She
Right.
comes back and says, "Yeah, what about the answer?"
Yep, and
Which
he
is good.
still and he dodged that too. And that's the whole thing. He did not want to
I'm
say.
a
Then he said,
knucklehead.
"I'm a knucklehead at times."
Yeah, well, again, the guy has been lying about all kinds of this. J.D. Vance looking at this guy and saying, "This is the guy I got to debate with." I mean, first of all, he's pitiful in terms of he's lied about his military service. He's lied about being in China. He's lied about everything, and even these moderators can't save him. That's I think how desperate it was at this point. The best thing they could have done was walk off stage and end the debate and stop the misery. But watching him go through this for the time of that whole debate was one of the worst performances I've ever seen any politician do, period. And that the guy should have been vetted in advance to know that he had no chance. I mean, I guess the Democrats said, we're going to run the worst ticket we can find because we know we can cheat the election. And so therefore we could run a dead person with AI, and that would be what we want as our real candidate. Thank you, Barack Obama.
Babylon B nailed it. They actually had a thing on this morning saying, miracle of miracles, Kamala Harris found someone dumber than her to be her running. And I think that's probably true. So I got a question for Barry. Barry, you come from the city, and you I think represent common sense. Do you think last night's debate had any effect on how people are going to see this ticket? Because to me, it's like I ask this to people all the time. It's like, how do you not see how stupid they are on the left? And yet somehow they all the polls are close. So do you think this has any effect on the trajectory of the campaigns as we go into the final stretch of the election?
My first thought was, like a lot of people say, the vice presidential debate really doesn't move the needle at all. But, last night was so obvious, the difference, that I'm hoping that some people would see, like you just said. I mean, the insanity and stupidity of the other side is just mind-blowing. It's just, but I don't know. I heard a great quote from Dennis Prager yesterday. He said, I have a love affair with my country, but it breaks my heart that half the country is going to vote for its destruction. So in other words, no matter how bad these people are, half the country is still going to vote for them.
I don't think half the country is going to vote for these people. I think about 20%
right.
of the country is going to vote for them. The rest is all going to be stolen. And
Yeah.
that's where, that's where
I worry about fraud and stupidity.
That's where I go too clear to queer. They just make this thing just so clear that that's what they want to do, that they can't get away with it. They can't run a gay pride parade in the middle of their election rally without us saying, the emperor's got no clothes, and that this is lunacy.
So, Jerry, I got to ask you then: are algorithms becoming transgendered? Are they going through a transition? Because I don't know. I don't care. I mean, if you want to say algorithms,
You got transgender algorithms. They not only flip votes, they flip the gender of the voter.
By the way, I got some comments here from our Patriots. Tony Trixie in the mix says you look a decade younger, so that's good.
Thank you.
Nice
Well, better
Yep.
more than Tim and I are we are the same age. So I'm turning 62 in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I beat you. I
And,
beat you
let's
all. I beat you all. I'm 78 at this point and counting. And,
Well,
and
you don't
playing-
look 78, Jerry.
No way.
You all look younger than Tim Walz. I keep
That's
doing
right.
that.
Tim
I'm
Walz.
turning
Tim
into
Walz.
I'm turning into Joe Biden. I'm turning into Joe Biden.
Are you
right
thinking
now.
of Ted
So,
Danson or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Bundy.
am. I am thinking
Ted
of
Bundy,
that.
Ted Hand-
No, I'm
Ted-
thinking of Ted Baxter. That's what I'm thinking of. For some reason, I'm thinking of Ted Baxter.
Danny,
Ted Baxter. Yeah,
Danny.
Ted Baxter.
I
night
think of
and
Judge
good news.
Smells. Judge Smells. Danny,
Yeah.
you're a good boy, Danny.
Oh yeah.
You know, even this it looked like a Saturday Night Live routine with him. Like this guy can't be a real candidate. He's got to be an
Well-
actor pretending to be a candidate.
Well, they all
No,
are.
that's
He's
so. I
a-
got
guy's
a
a-
question for both
he's a-
of you. So
He's a
Barry,
caricature. He's a caricature of himself. He's
Yeah.
he's mocking himself by his presence.
Right.
so
Great way to put it.
Barry, do you think they're going to? So Saturday Night Live, the cold opening was funny for once.
Yeah.
They got Vance wrong. The guy that played Vance, he didn't get it. So hopefully they'll make that
Mhm.
adjustment. But man, oh man, Dana Carvey as Biden,
Oh, he's spot
Jim
on.
Gaffigan as
It
Walls.
took them to bring Dana Carvey back.
yeah,
to
that
make
was
Saturday Night Live
fantastic.
funny
Yeah,
again.
yeah, and he was
Yeah.
great. And little secret, I don't think he likes Biden. So I think he
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
was
yeah.
happy to jump
Well, he
into
did
it.
a very
Well,
he
I
did a
think,
good job. He also did a good George H.W. Bush too, though. So he was.
But
Yeah.
Biden,
Oh, we don't
Biden's
like
got-
Bush either.
Biden's got a future. He could become the ghost of the White House. He could just wander around from time to time naked. Show up
Well, he
20
used
years
to.
from now.
Cobra.
Oh, that's
Cobra.
that's just
Cobra.
Biden wandering around. Don't worry about it. You know, he comes and goes. He can't remember he was here to begin with. He's
Yes,
he's
I'm going to do Paul. All right, so let me
he's
do a quick
looking-
read. I'm
looking
being
for his
yelled at
mind.
by the producer.
okay.
The
Oh, well, I
other
didn't-
slave master besides Ed is the producer. So
I'm the underling
Anyway.
digging the coal mines.
all right, so we got to talk about Colonial Metals Group, who sponsors our program. So look, one of the things that came up in the debate is that things are challenging. There's no doubt, and Waltz tried to ignore it. And by the way, one of the most brilliant things that JD did several times is nothing stopping her from doing all these great things to improve the economy now. They've been in office almost 4 years. So
Yes.
why hadn't she done them? So the reason she hadn't done them is because they don't want to. They don't want to improve the economy. That's why you need to turn to Paul Stone and the Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals will offer you options that you need to have as part of your portfolio, strengthening your future. Gold and silver, the actual instruments that helped man become civilized back with the ancient Egyptians and the Romans and, Cleopatra. Who wouldn't want to invest with Cleopatra, right? Well, you're smarter than the average asp, right? Well, we are. So you need to get out there, talk to Paul, go check out colonialmetals.com/Ed-Henry or call him. Pick up the phone, do it the old fashioned way, 800-805-4034. Tell him we sent you. You will not be unhappy. You will be happy. You will be safe. You secure. Again, colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed. Aren't you going to put the picture of slave driver Ed up there for us, Chris? You have
I
that
have it.
available?
It's right here, and it's ready to roll.
That's right. So we need to make sure that people see Ed this morning. So
Yes, right
there he is. There he is. The Ed Henry. So check it out. Ed is, we work for Ed, and Ed encourages people to go check out Colonial Metals, colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed Henry. So
Ed did
Barry,
some, Ed did some
Yeah.
of the best interviews of me on Fox back when Fox would allow either one of us to be there.
me too. Me too. Yeah.
He was a
I
great
was-
interviewer. I thought he
I
always
was talking to my girlfriend last night about us, we all being banned from even Ed,
You
we're
can't even
all
trust them anymore. You see, you
persona
can't
non
trust
grata
Fox.
at Fox. Yeah.
It's a funny thing how Kamala Harris is afraid to debate on Fox, but Fox is in no way Trump friendly or Republican friendly all the time. And you saw in the last two debates, presidential debates on Fox, that they will come after Trump. But Kamala Harris is still afraid that, see, they'll come after both candidates. So Harris was afraid that Fox would ask her a real question. Like Ted Walz got one token real question.
Well, Ed was great interviewer,
Tim Walz,
and
well, that one real question upset him. Yeah.
Fox is. I haven't watched Fox.
So, Chris, you got anything else you want to run by us, or?
Well, let's see. I think
I
we
don't
have
watch Fox. I don't.
everything's kind of long here, but the fact is, everything it's all running here. Let's see. I may have something good on the First Amendment. If we want to talk amongst ourselves, I'll pull that
Let's
one
do
up
the First Amendment, because that's
that was
important.
that was interesting.
also,
too.
Waltz really showed his true colors on that.
Right, and that was interesting. They were fighting over who was right about the First Amendment, and that was. Yeah, so hold on a sec on this one. I'm going to grab that in just a
according
few moments.
to John Kerry, we don't need any First Amendment.
Yeah, that's right. That's another one.
Waltz did the same thing. Waltz did the same thing. It's like, well, the Supreme Court said you can't yell fire in a auditorium. It's like, it's not what he said. You've had people banning people from Facebook because they said toddlers should not have to wear masks. That's an opinion about policy.
Right.
So they're trying to always they're setting, as like I said on Chris Salcedo, they're trying to always set up straw man. It's like, oh, you can't yell fire in the theater, so we can censor you. It's like, no, you can't, because you're not censoring people for that. You're censoring people for having opinions about government you don't like. So go ahead.
Criticizing the government is not fire in a crowded theater. That's part of what the Constitution was built upon. Right. Anyway, here we go.
You guys attack us for not believing in democracy. The most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris,
look at that face. Look at that face on Wall.
Government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats.
He's kind of got a wall to
reject
Nixon
censorship.
face too.
Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
Fire in a crowded theater. That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Exactly. And by the way, Walz was so confused that, or something happened where the moderator said, "Senator, the governor has the floor," and Walz said, "Sorry."
Well, he was pretty sorry across the board.
I know he was.
It was a theme.
They don't want the First Amendment. They don't want the Second Amendment. They don't want democracy. They don't want anything except, their rule. And they're all about power, 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 power. That's all they want.
Everything they accuse us of is what they're doing.
What they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Projection.
Yeah.
And so therefore, they don't need no stinking truth. Right. They're not interested in truth. They're interested in narratives. And, where was the discussion last night about, the raging war in the Middle East, about sending long-range missiles from Ukraine into Russia, provoking Russia to
more important issues
they weren't going to go through any of that, Jerry.
They weren't
I was hoping they would touch that. I was hoping they would touch that.
In the very beginning, there was discussion about the Iran deal.
Contingency. Would you support the Israelis going and firing a preemptive? It's like,
right.
Oh, okay. And I think JD said, look, we got to support our ally. I think that was the right answer. It's like, they've got to be allowed to protect themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
Walz reflected on the Iran deal, by the way, too.
And also the whole, yes, he's as conflicted as he is on China. I mean, both of these are compromise points for Walz. But the point is, we're on the verge of, we're probably in World War III right now. Don't realize it started.
This is like 1939.
It's about 39, exactly. And, we're at the very beginning of it. And there's no reason we have to be here except that we have a State Department that wants somehow desperately to poke the bear and go to war with Russia. I guess since the Berlin Wall came down, the Democrats have hated Russia because it renounced communism. So the Democrats just hate Russia. Russia is all we hear from the Democrats. I mean, I did that with the Mueller investigation. They wanted to blame everything on Russia, and it's ridiculous. And then, and the whole idea that the world is inflamed right now, when Trump had the Middle East reasoning, saying if we just work with Israel, we can make the Middle East flourish. We all benefit from it. Benefit economically from it. The Abraham Accords. And let's just put down this Jew hatred the people who are wanting to kill them just because they're Jews again. Didn't we have enough of that with Hitler? Didn't it? Wasn't 60 million people killed in World War II enough to make the point? Do we have to kill now billions in order to make the point? It's a bad idea to hate Jews.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, speaking of
get
hate,
over this, can't we get over this as a species?
Well, I think that yesterday was a very bad day for the administration. I mean, look, they have the issue regarding here in North Carolina. They're not showing up to rescue people because we're flyover country, so why worry about it? You had the coastal. By the way, if you go to Costco or this, you're going to find toilet paper all gone because of the strike, and I'm not joking. Go right now to your store. Run down to your store and try to buy toilet paper. It's all gone because it's a supply chain. And of course, the issues regarding the Iranians yesterday. And I don't know if you saw yesterday they had a press conference with Jake Sullivan. You have that picture ready, Chris?
Yes,
Jake Sullivan.
Another one of my least favorite State Department guys, Jake Sullivan.
No. Jake Sullivan's national security. He's at the White House.
Oh, now he's at the White House. Now he's at the White House.
So no. Matt Miller is over at the State Department, who was accused by the Israelis of leaking information. There he is. There's Jake Sullivan.
Jake Sullivan.
Good old Jake. Jake looking good. Jake, it is. I love that picture of Jake.
They do have the same haircut.
College days. Yeah, they do. And that's the look that Jake had yesterday during the press conference. Like, what the hell? And he did. He looked like someone had stolen his lunch money. Anyway, this is a question to Barry. So Barry, in the next 30 days, is there anything the Biden White House can do to save Kamala's bacon, so to speak?
Anything to save it? No.
Absolutely. No. Is there anything they can do to basically help Kamala become for her to let's see, how do I phrase it? For her to see to embrace what's possible, letting go of what was in the past. Is that how she phrases it?
The only thing they could do is just keep her in the basement like Biden.
Turn the page. Don't you know that?
Turn the page.
It changed. And this is the funny thing. Why are she and Walz campaigning on change anyway? They are actually
joy and change.
Right. Well, I understand the joy because she wears the happy helmet as you put forth before. But think about this: these people are the establishment. These people have been in power for the last 3.5 years, and they're asking you to vote for change. Clearly, they're telling you to vote for Trump.
Exactly.
Clearly.
That's what we're gonna do.
Let me. So I've got the Jake Sullivan predictive pickle here. By the way, this is what they use to make decisions at the White House. So let's ask the pickle. Because the pickle knows. Pickle, do you think that Kamala will bring joy back to Washington? So no answer. Let's try it again. Here we go. Here's the. So Jake is having a pickle party. So I guess we're not going to get an answer about the joy. So sorry, folks.
I have a question.
We'll have to come back next week.
That's not the same one Rachel Levine uses, right?
No, Rachel Levine rubs the bald guy's head. It's like that guy over there that stole all the stuff off the conveyors at the airport.
There you go.
What was that guy's name?
I don't remember. He was so insignificant to me, but it's surprisingly he had a lot of power. So,
he's still he's a poster child on a lot of Trump's campaign ads right now, which is great.
Criminal and nutcase. So,
nuclear nutcase.
I got a good one. Let's just for Kamala Harris, just send more money to Ukraine and don't send any money to the victims of the hurricane because of course this was through Republican states, so they don't get anything. But Ukraine, let's send more money over there so we can steal it, and that Biden will get his cut, and that they can buy more weapons. There's stories coming out of Ukraine now that their soldiers are so old that, brigades are down to 1 or 2 left of these recruits, conscripts that they're putting in the field. No training. This whole Ukrainian war has been a lie and a joke from the beginning, except that it's been so tragic. I mean, there was no need for this war to have occurred. Just like there was no need for the war in the Middle East to have occurred.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you start having to procure tactical walkers as a part of your military deployment, Not a
We
good
need,
sign. I
we need
think.
those little scooters where you can go through
Yeah.
the airport, through the scooters.
The runner. What was that thing with George Costanza? He was running around on those.
Oh, that's right. Well, the good thing is, gentlemen, Ted Walls will have something to do after November. There we go. You can talk to Ryan Ruth about recruiting over there. So
Yeah,
there we
maybe
go.
go bring more people over from China on tours.
Now, I also
Yeah.
understand Ukraine's seeking out prisoners too, trying to recruit prisoners. That's never going to go well.
Prisoners. That's the whole thing. Is if it had been reported honestly from the beginning, going back to the Maidan rebellion, you'd have found Hillary Clinton in the State Department in the middle of it.
Of course, Victoria Nuland.
And all these people wanted, for some reason, this hatred of
Like the
Russia.
Maidan rebellion, but that's a different story, I guess.
Look, if we would have never, Jerry, you know this, we would have never stood for Cuba joining the Warsaw Pact during the Cold War. But we would have never accepted that.
Never. And look, Reagan had the right approach to the Soviet Union, which was a policy of toughness. He was tough, and he knew that he could spend them into bankruptcy, and he did.
Right.
Star Wars and the rest. He did. It was a brilliant strategy. But he also knew that he could coexist with them, provided that we had the upper hand. In other words, we had to have the military strength in order to deal with Russia as a adversary, because Russia's going to be an adversary, as China's going to be an adversary. Now, we can work with them, but we have to
have their own interests. That's right.
We have to work with them from the position of strength. And that's why J.D. Vance last night was making so much sense, saying that NAFTA was a mistake. All these ideas to reduce U.S. sovereignty and to push us towards the new world government. For European Union, we're only going to have a coal and steel agreement. There's not going to be a European government. Okay, well, go look at Brussels today and Luxembourg and see all the EU buildings and these unelected officials who are dictating policy. That's where Orban and Hungary and the others in Italy are finally saying no to the EU. And these global governments are a bad idea because they just don't work. It's like if Al Gore and old bolt neck John Kerry and Tim Walz get their way, that we would be reporting to Brussels just like the rest of the EU. I know.
I believe all three of them are just doing this so they can hang out with Greta more often. That's a different story. I want to give a hail to somebody. Well, the bad Greta. Hey, I want to give a hail to Proud American Woman 1, who put in the live chat, if Harris lights a match, she'd blow up from all the gaslighting. So give her a hail for that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I have heard when she walks in, it smells like brimstone. It's like the devil himself walks in. It's like remember Charlie Brown and what was it? What was the character that always had the stinky cloud go around him?
Yeah, I like the $68,000 necklace she wore at the border. That was my favorite.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
Those are brimstones, Jerry. Brimstones.
Brimstones are more valuable these days.
They have some self-awareness.
So, she's made of sulfur anyway. So
we got to go. We're overtime because we have so much to talk about and so little time to do it. So we got to come back. Barry, I want you to come back. I mean,
yes,
we want to actually have
hanging with you guys.
Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, Dr. Corsi and his Algorithms, which is a great band. Jerry, are you guys going to release an album soon?
I think we should. I think it's actually a great idea.
They need an album cover photo.
I'll bring out the accordion. It'll be all good.
That's right.
Dr. Corsi and the Algorithms.
Dr. Corsi's back with us, by the way, on Monday. And we're going to go really in depth on these algorithms. You got the new things going on. It's really interesting.
That's right.
Don't forget, Friday, it's Trixie and Deborah Lynn. So Trixie and Deborah Lynn, we'll see you on Friday.
I see Trixie in the mix. She'll be there. That's right. And Deborah, I see her there too. So they'll be there Friday going on their own. And so I guess we'll see you all next week. Again, we got Jerry back. We're going to have we're going to see if we get Sean on. Did you talk to Sean yet, Parnell? See if we can get
I messaged Sean, and we'll have to. He'll have to get back to me, I suppose. But we'll talk about that off air. And Barry, we got to get you back on too.
Yeah, Barry, we'll have you back.
Thank you.
And then we'll see about. I don't know, Jerry. Do you play the bass or do you play the drums? Because you could be like the Phil Collins of your band.
I take the drums. The drums are good.
I can feel it in the air tonight. Oh Lord, you know.
I could bang on the lead singer. Yeah, that would be good. No, we could make it a rap band because, as I said yesterday.
And Janice said Pigpen. That's right. Pigpen.
Pigpen is the one.
Think that's right. Pigpen is Kamala. Kamala all grown up is Pigpen. So
by the way, what happened to Shermy? Shermy just disappeared after a while.
Who?
Shermy. He was the first baseman for the Peanuts team for a
Oh,
while,
I
and
don't
he just like disappeared. That's it, gone. He was like the Chuck. He's the Chuck Cunningham of Peanuts.
I
One
guess.
episode.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there were two Chucks. You know that. There were two Chucks, and they both and the character disappeared first season or whatever.
So that could be the new nickname for Waltz, Upchuck.
Ooh, well, we have that. Don't we have Chuck Schumer for that?
Well, Chuck Schumer. That's right. Chuck is unique. You know, do you? I hate
Schmucky
to do
Chuck.
this, Barry. Barry, you've met Chuck Schumer, haven't you?
No, I haven't had that. honor.
No,
No, I'm not.
no, you're a New Yorker. I thought everybody had to meet Chuck Schumer. I thought it was like a requirement. You meet him during
I
Gay
met him.
Pride Parade or something.
I just hide in my studio because
You know,
everybody else is
he's-
liberal in New York.
No, I met him.
No, Amy Schumer. You've met him. You've met him, and then Amy. Have you met Amy Schumer?
No, I
Because,
have not had the displeasure.
Yeah, because I'm
No
not
Schumer.
convinced she's a girl. Just saying. I mean, she's pretty masculine. I think she's got a lot of
They
testosterone.
could be the same person.
Roving around. Could be.
Transgender algorithm.
Talk about yeah, yeah. That's right. There you go. They go both ways. There- Oh my God, that's right.
There's
Man.
Mr. Noseworthy himself.
Noseworthy.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
right.
That's about as
That's the face of evil
satanic
right
a
there.
look as you can get. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an evil face.
Yeah. If you know he's not a Bond villain, but he's the guy in the back who's always talking to the Bond villain on the phone. You know.
Yeah,
When Blofeld is on the phone talking with the cat, he's who he's talking to. He's talking to Chuck.
I think he's a transgender algorithm.
Well, I always thought that Chuck Schumer looked like the boss on the Mallard Fillmore comics, Mr. Noseworthy, and that definitely is Chuck Schumer right there,
He's got too much hair for Chuck, you know. And
with
plus
the
bow
glasses
tie.
and the nose.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to go, folks. It's been great seeing you, Patriots.
Great seeing everybody.
We'll be back.
Nice
We'll be
meeting you,
back
Jerry.
Monday. We'll be back with Barry's going to come back. We're going to have
Yep,
Jerry
look
come
forward to it.
back and
for having me.
have fun Friday. And we'll see you Monday. Great weekend.
You guys have a great